changed our minds as to when to meet, so the notable news information this week is not correct. That's the correct one. And also the topic is going to be democracy, and more specifically, it's shaping up to be American democracy then and now. So that's going to be our topic. So I hope to see you there.
Hi, Lori Striel, Hospitality. And again, I'm giving you the opportunity to serve your congregation by serving coffee. So I'll be walking around after service looking for people who want to have that opportunity. The other thing is our next potluck is December 8th, and we're going to continue the holiday theme.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to announce that I'm Joey Cole, and I'm up here for SAC, our Social Action Committee. And we just wanted to remind everybody, or let anyone who is new know, that we are meeting in here in the sanctuary today at noon for a meeting after the election. How's that? I'll put it that way. Just to kind of share how we're feeling and that sort of thing, we're going to try to keep it to an hour. Childcare will be available, so if you've brought your little ones and you want to stay, you're welcome to do that. They'll have some fun in the back, and that'll be good. And the second thing, before that meeting starts at noon, I'm waiting now. Cookie, my housemate, is bringing a cake, and I brought some ice cream, and we will be celebrating Luna's birthday. Oh. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'll end on a good note. How's that? Oh, sorry, there is one last thing. Does anybody know where these are? We saw them when we worked on the library. There was a big packet of it. They said they used them at Pride, but they didn't take them to Pride this year, I heard. I don't know where they are. They say, Black Lives Matter goes all the way down, says, if this speaks to you, then, you might be. I would like to put these as we gather food for the night's pantry. I would like to put one of these every time we take over a box of food, but I can't find them. So if anybody knows where they are, just see me after service.
And I have two other announcements. We have our quarterly meeting a week from today, so please plan to stay afterward. We'll have little snacks to tide everybody over. And on behalf of facilities, I just wanted to thank everybody who helped with breaking down the room for the election, as well as putting it back together, and especially to Derek and Carl for cleaning out our gutters this last week.
Good morning, everyone. Michelle Flores. I just wanted to remind everyone that next week is James's last week here, and I have some cards for people to sign, both today and then again next week. Also, if I haven't really talked with James about this part, so I'm so sorry. I would also like the kids to have an opportunity to make cards for him next week in RE, something that they can be a little more involved in, because I think that's very important. And also, along those lines, for those of you that know Taylor Barton, she's going to join us to help fill in as James leaves. She will be working kind of remotely for a couple of months because she's relocating here in January. So from the personnel aspect and as far as RE, that's where we're at right now. Thank you.
So my opening words come directly from the UUA president. Unitarian Universalists know that democracy and justice are central to, but not defined by, electoral cycles. We honor and celebrate the incredible work thousands of UUs have done through the UU the Vote this year. And we remind ourselves that the long-term struggles for democracy, for bodily autonomy, for climate justice, for decriminalization, are the ongoing imperatives of our faith. We will continue to side with love because that is who we are, regardless of the results of one election. We will center ourselves in love and ground our work going forward in the shared values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. Our chalice lighter today is Addie. Addie uses the she, her pronouns, and she's 5 years old, and she will have a baby brother in about a week's time. And we say these words together. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And each week we affirm why we come here. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek true love, and to help one another. Once again, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome everybody. Whether you're visiting for the first time or the 10th time, we encourage you to come back several times because every week is completely different here. We have speakers from academia, we have speakers from nonprofits, we have ministers, or faith leaders from other faiths as well as UU. And we have members of our own congregation who share their gifts with us. So we encourage you to come back multiple times, whether in person or online, to get to know us. We have coffee hour before and after service, so we encourage you to join us for that. We sometimes even have cake, beer, you never know what you're going to get. So we encourage you to come back several times. Take a moment and greet somebody near you, especially maybe somebody that you don't know that well or somebody who's visiting. Okay, we're going to come back. Thank you. There will be plenty of opportunity to talk afterward, so I encourage you to stay. This is the time in our service where we have an opportunity to share important joys and concerns in our lives. So please, as you're willing and able, come to the microphone to share a joy and concern, or I can bring the microphone to you. Knowing that there are a great many thoughts and feelings regarding our unfolding election results, I'll ask our Social Justice Chair to place our first stone for this tender national moment and our continued hopes for an evolving democracy.
Mother Julian of Norwich, Christian mystic who lived through the plague, said, "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well."
Mine's a little more personal. I have a concern and a joy. The concern is that my condominium caught on fire this week. It was not in my unit. I got smoke damage and I wasn't there, so the firemen busted in my front door. But of the 4 affected units, I'm still living in mine, so that's the joy. And the other joy is how many people from the congregation have offered me housing if I needed it. It was such a warm feeling to know that if I needed some help, there was help available.
My joy is today I went playing basketball.
All right. Very nice.
Aren't you talking first? Oh, okay. Hi, David McElroy. We went on a, was it 10 days or 9? 10-day trip to South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. And Marilyn will fill in the Tennessee part in just a moment. But we went up in the mountains, and it was like constant turns and stuff, and Marilyn let me drive mostly. She drove once at night, and she gave it up after that. But we were in Franklin, North Carolina, which is close to the mountain in Highland.
The old Susie.
Yeah, well, and close to the old Susie as well. And then we were in Greer, South Carolina. Chattanooga, Tennessee, which she's going to talk about. And where's the other place we were?
That's it.
Oh, okay, well, all I can remember is this. But we had a great time. We got to see some beautiful scenery, mostly leaves, but not all leaves. Some of them were down by the time we got there. And then you can fill them in.
The highlight by far was seeing our beloved John and Amy Mowbray. They have a gorgeous, huge house. I told them, I'm telling everyone there's room for all of you. With a gigantic, not at the same time, gigantic basement. They're doing really well. Especially John. I think Amy's still trying to find her way a little bit. John is working at home mostly, traveling some, and he's already made friends playing in the band at the Unitarian Church, and they're really enjoying friends they met there. We decided to go to that area because I felt like a lot of people, that whole North Carolina area, because I felt a lot of people are going to think, oh, everything's damaged, it's not, you can't travel there. So that was the main reason, because we were traveling straight to Asheville and Black Mountain, which I've heard is very slowly getting restored. We saw a ton of trees down.
Road's bad.
Roads bad, but not as bad as we thought. So things are quickly getting cleaned up.
I just wanted to jump in that I forgot to remind everybody that this is being broadcast and recorded over Zoom and YouTube, so just be aware of that. This could live on indefinitely. So just mentioning that.
Hi, my name is Amelia Packham. I'm Anne's daughter, for anyone that doesn't know. We have two joys. So the first is I led the election communications efforts at the University of Florida, where I go to school. And we had the highest voter turnout ever at UF this past election cycle. So that was great. And the highest in Alachua County in the past 4 decades, so about 85% turnout in Alachua. So yeah, that was really exciting. The other joy is I'm the president of the Planned Parenthood Club at UF. Yay! And for Amendment 4, we had the second highest yes turnout in Alachua County, so at 68%. So really exciting to see voters turn out, even though we didn't get the results that Planned Parenthood that we wanted. Really happy to see the community all kind of come together at UF. That's my joys.
So I got the job. Yay! So I won't be working nights anymore. I will have a normal schedule. I've died and gone to nurse heaven. But my concern is I will be out of work for like 3 weeks in my little transition. So I do have a couple of fun things planned, but I also need to earn a little extra money. So I will be selling sourdough if anybody is interested. There's a sample today of a rye sourdough. So if you are interested, see me. I can do all kinds of flavors. And part of my proceeds will go to SAC.
I got to write a letter to Kamala Harris. I learned sign language a couple days ago.
I spoke with my niece last night, yesterday afternoon. My nephew is dying of cancer. He's been traveling from Texas to Colorado. He's in his 60s. He's been traveling from Texas to Colorado for chemo treatments. just if you would keep him in his prayers, in your prayers and in your thoughts, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. His name is Brian Cole.
Hi, I'm Peter. My concern is what happened last Tuesday. It's pretty stressful. My joy is that I've been teaching people how to meditate for over 30 years, and I'm going to be leading a one-day mindfulness and breathing meditation retreat at a yoga center in Apopka, first Saturday of December 7th. There's a flyer on the door, and there's also one on the bulletin board in there if you want more information. Please see me or go to the website, Orlando Insight Meditation. So, I wish you well, folks.
My joy today that we're doing origami. My joy is I got us both.
Hi, Alyssa Pajek. I have a concern and a joy. My concern is that last week my dad ended up in the ER. He's had an ongoing medical issue and there's complication related to that. He's a little private about it, but just kind of keep him in your thoughts. The good news is the treatments he's been going through are back on track. He's just a week delayed, so things are still looking up in that direction. And my joy is my best friend since college is having her first child this winter, and Chloe and some friends of ours are all going up to Seattle to see her and her new daughter. We booked our Airbnb the other day, so it is very exciting.
Hi, I'm Mallory. This is my husband, Andrew. Our joy is that I am getting induced, not tomorrow, but the Monday after. So baby is here very soon. A concern with it, though, is that when we went to our checkup last Monday, baby has decided to cause a little bit of trouble and flipped out of position into breech. He's been in position for a month and decided 2 weeks before that's not for him. So here's hoping when we go tomorrow, he's back in position. Send good vibes.
And our other joy is that Addie's Mimi, or Mallory's mom, arrives on Tuesday. She'll be here almost through the end of the year to help from Utah. So we're looking forward to having the help. So.
Lorraine Williams. I could stand up here for a really long time talking about joys and concerns, mine. But I will share two joys. My granddaughter, who is 13, has tried out for soccer the last 3 years for the middle school soccer team. And she plays travel soccer. She's quite a good little soccer player. The problem is she's about that tall, so her stride is short. But she made the soccer team this year, so. And the other one is that the meditation group here, for years, most of the people who attend are older. I'm looking at Melanie. She's not older, but the rest of us are older. We have two new, and I hear there might be a third young whippersnapper joining the group. So, and it's just wonderful because it just kind of puts a whole different joy in the group. It's really, really lovely. So I asked Caitlin if it was okay if I mentioned it. I won't mention any other names, Chloe, but but it's really, really delightful.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say something. After church, we're going to Blaze Pizza, then the roller skating ring.
Hey, I forgot last week because pregnancy brain and postpartum brain is a real thing. Thank you to everyone. I'm still working on thank you cards. My birthday cards took like 4 months to do for thank yous, so hopefully these will be a lot quicker. But I've got meals sent to me. I've greatly appreciated all of it. And I'm terrible with names and faces, so I'm sorry. I'm going to get somebody to help me. But I wrote down as much as I could, but I did have a toddler in the back seat with the gifts. So some of them I'm not quite sure, but I'll do my best. So thank you, everyone.
I also wanted to place a stone in our water today in honor of veterans. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Do we have any veterans in our congregation who would like to be recognized? Please raise your hand. Can we give them a round of applause? So let's just take a moment of silence to meditate. We know that when we share our joys and concerns, some of our burden is lifted. So please take a moment and think about some of the joys and concerns that may not have been shared today. Amen. All right, it's time for all ages. I'm not sure who's in charge of that. Oh, it's you, Peter. Come on up.
James asked me to speak from a Buddhist perspective. So most of us know of the Aesop's fables. Even the young folks probably know about those. Well, about the same time in history, there was what are called the Jataka tales from Buddhist tradition. And of course, they believed in reincarnation. They still do. So before his enlightenment, when he was what's called a bodhisattva, he was reborn many different incarnations. And so the Jataka tales describe the moral lesson in a particular incarnation of the bodhisattva. So I'm going to read this one, and I want you to think about it from two perspectives. One of them is interpersonal, and the other one is inside yourself. It's called The Brave Little Parrot. Once, long ago, the Buddha was born as a little parrot. One day a storm fell upon his forest home. Lightning flashed, thunder crashed, and a dead tree struck by lightning burst into flames. Sparks leaped on the wind, and soon the forest was ablaze. Terrified animals ran wildly in every direction, seeking safety from the flames and smoke. "Fire! Fire!" cried the little parrot. "To the river!" Flapping his wings, he flung himself out into the fury of the storm, and rising higher, flew toward the safety of the river. But as he flew, he could see that many animals were trapped, surrounded by the flames below, with no chance of escape. Suddenly, a desperate idea, a way to save them, came to him. He darted to the river, dipped himself in the water, and flew back over the now raging fire. The heat rising up from the burning forest was like the heat of an oven. The thick smoke made breathing almost unbearable. A wall of flames shot up on one side, and then the other. Crackling flames leapt before him. Twisting and turning through the mad maze of fire, the little parrot flew bravely on. At last, when he was over the center of the forest, he shook his wings and released the few drops of water, which still clung to his feathers. The tiny drops tumbled down like jewels into the heart of the blaze and vanished with a hiss. Then the little parrot once more flew back through the flames and smoke to the river, dipped himself in the cool water, and flew back again over the burning forest. Back and forth he flew, time and time again, from the river to the forest, from the burning forest to the river. His feathers were charred. His feet were scorched. His lungs ached. His eyes, stung by smoke, turned red as coals. His mind spun dizzily as the spinning sparks. But still the little parrot flew on. At this time, some of the devas, gods of a happy realm, were floating overhead in their cloud palaces of ivory and gold. They happened to look down, and they saw the little parrot flying among the flames. They pointed at him with perfect hands. Between mouthfuls of honeyed foods, they exclaimed, "Look at that foolish bird. He's trying to put out a raging forest fire with a few sprinkles of water. How absurd!" And they laughed. But one of those gods, strangely moved, changed himself into a golden eagle and flew down toward the tiny parrot's fiery path. The little parrot was just nearing the flames again when the great eagle, with eyes like molten gold, appeared at his side. "Go back, little bird," said the eagle in a solemn and majestic voice. "Your task is hopeless. A few drops of water can't put out a forest fire. Cease now and save yourself before it's too late." But the little parrot only continued to fly on through the smoke and flames. He could hear the great eagle flying above him as the heat grew fiercer, calling out, "Stop, foolish little parrot! Save yourself! Save yourself!" "I don't need a great shining eagle," coughed the little parrot, "to give me advice like that. My own mother, the dear bird, might have told me such things long ago. Advice. I don't need advice. I just need someone to help." And the god, who was that great eagle, seeing the little parrot flying through the flames, thought suddenly of his own privileged kind. He could see them high up above. There they were, the carefree gods, laughing and talking, while many animals cried out in pain and fear from the flames below. And he grew ashamed. Then one single desire was kindled in his heart. God though he was, he just wanted to be like that brave little parrot and to help. "I will help," he exclaimed, and flushed with these new feelings, he began to weep. Stream after stream of sparkling tears poured from his eyes. Wave upon wave, they washed down like cooling rain upon the fire, upon the forest, upon the animals, and upon the little parrot himself. The flames died down, and the smoke began to clear. The little parrot, washed and bright, rocketed about the sky, laughing for joy. "Now that's more like it," he exclaimed. The eagle's tears dripped from burning branches. Smoke rose up from the scorched earth. Miraculously, where those tears glistened, new life pushed forth. Fresh shoots, stems, and leaves. Green grass pushed up from among the still glowing cinders. Where the teardrops sparkled on the parrot's wings, new feathers now grew. Red feathers, green feathers, yellow feathers, such bright colors, such a handsome bird. All the animals looked up at one another in amazement. They were whole and well. Not one had been harmed. Up above in the clear blue sky, they could see their brave friend, the little parrot, looping and soaring in delight. When all hope was gone, somehow he had saved them. "Hooray!" they cried. "Hooray for the brave little parrot and for the miraculous rain." Now, do we have time to get responses from people or questions? So I want you to contemplate that, what it might mean to you. We're relatively privileged, I think, most of us, compared to others. And also, kindness for ourselves, because a lot of us are on fire right now, too. Tears of compassion. I wish you well.
Thank you. I think that was perfect. It's now time for our interlude and offering. We are a generous congregation. You are encouraged, if you haven't already, to give online. We have a couple of special projects going on right now. So if you related to getting rid of a tree in the back, as well as getting some security locks for our doors. So feel free to use the QR code on there. And we give 40% of our loose offering to a nonprofit every quarter, and this quarter it's the ACLU. And who's going to be leading? Are you leading us? And Janet's going to lead us in our hymn.
So somehow we missed her opening music, so you can make up for it by singing with extra energy here. Oh, yes, there we go. There we go. And you have the words. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I meet my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did back, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
I didn't realize I missed the opening music, so we can throw it on at the end if we have time. Right now, we'll give an opportunity for our young people to go into the back, into the children's RE program, and we'll sing them out. We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. We welcome Reverend Kathy Schmitz to our pulpit today, and she will be speaking to us on the next right thing.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be with you this morning. Martha actually reached out about 2 months ago and said, "What are you doing the Sunday after the election?" And it was nice for me to have something to do this week. So I will say, for those of you who don't know, in addition to being an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister, I'm also the president of the Orange County League of Women Voters. I am scrupulously nonpartisan. And let us begin. First, we're going to begin with a little bit of meditation. It's one I used 8 years ago. It comes from my former classmate and colleague, Reverend Alice Anacheki Naisman. So I invite you to take a moment to bring yourself fully to this time and the place where you are. Relax your body, calm your mind. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeezed tight with hopelessness. But instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we open our hearts. Relax your body, calm your mind, feel your breath flowing in, flowing out. Breathe. Breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion. breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives. Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love. Breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives. Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts. Breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage, and may our love flow from us into the world. Breathing in, we are the prayer. Breathing out, we are the healing. Breathing in, we are the love. Breathing out, we are the peace. Breathing in, we are the hope. Breathing out, we are the justice. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. Let us take just a moment together in shared silence. May our love flow from us into this world. Amen. Blessed be, and may it ever be so. 8 years ago, on a morning much like this one, I chose a sermon title of No Matter What. I chose this title because while I did not know what would be happening in that election year, what I did know was this: that there would still be Unitarian Universalists in Central Florida. I knew that we would be here, and I knew that we would still be doing what we have always done. I knew that no matter what, we would still be here living our liberal religious values, no matter what. We would still be here using and supporting democracy as part of the struggle for racial justice, working for gender equity and reproductive justice, celebrating our LGBTQ plus community and working for greater inclusion and justice, ensuring religious freedom and tolerance, safeguarding immigrants' rights. And we would still be here working for our planet and a peaceful, just, and sustainable future for all. I knew that no matter what, Unitarian Universalists and other people of good faith and goodwill would be here in Central Florida and beyond, and this knowledge made my heart glad. The times we live in matter, and the expression of our liberal tradition reflects the times we live in. Our core principles and values don't change. Our affirmation of the worth and dignity of every person does not change. Our commitment to justice and compassion in human relationships, these don't change. Our core principles and values don't change. However, one of the features of liberal religion is that it adapts to the situation it finds itself in. We know that our principles play out differently in different contexts. We believe that our values must speak to the world in which we live. It is through our values that we will each determine in our own time and place what we will do and how we will do the next right thing. So this morning, I am not going to fill you with information or outline a plan of action. This morning, knowing that we are in many different places in our processing of the events of the week, and knowing that some of us are more impacted than others by the events of the last week, I'd like to invite your reflection on our principles and our values. But let's start by taking a moment with our own visions. you might, if you have a piece of paper, you could make a couple of notes, but maybe you would do that later. But for now, I invite you in your mind. Sometimes as Unitarian Universalists, we say, we aren't trying to get people into heaven. We're trying to get heaven into people. We're not so worried about what happens when we die, but rather what happens when we live. In a way, we're trying to create heaven on earth. So my invitation for a minute or two, and we're going to have just a little bit of music while we do that, is to think of, like the sentence you would say if you were trying to describe your heaven on earth, your vision of how it could be. It could be a sentence or a paragraph. It could be a list of what you would see and hear and feel in that world. You could design an abstract piece of art in your mind. Whatever it is that helps you create and hold on to a vision of the world that you believe could be and should be. So let's take just a moment each to ourselves to pull into our minds that vision. Does anybody want to call out a word or phrase that came to them? Sustained sense of safety for everybody. Peace. Compassion. Patience. Kindness. Love your neighbor as yourself. Reopened communications. Ecological balance. Yeah. Hope. Hope. Care. Peace. Safety. Responsibility. Equality. Honesty. Okay. There's more. I know there's more in your hearts. It's beautiful, and you can add to this as your vision comes more into focus, but I encourage you in the week ahead to hold on to that vision of where you would like to see us go. And for now, these can be our North Stars, that thing that we hold up and guides us. It guides us, even if we will never get there in our lifetime. It helps us know what direction we are going. Now, I was once officiating at an event at which there was a potentially uncomfortable social situation. As one person got out of the car and I greeted her, she whispered urgently to me, "Gary and Sue are going to be here. That's awkward." And I said, "That is what manners were invented for." Although I think we should treat those closest to us very well, the true beauty of our customs, of manners, is that they help us when things are not going well. And I think the same is true of our principles and values. They're good all the time, but they are critical, crucial in difficult times. So we are going to need them as we try to get from where we are today to that place that we know could be. So I'd like to review our principles and values this morning. So we have had, for most of the time that I've been a Unitarian Universalist, 7 principles. Let's see how many you can name. Oh, no, don't put those down. Put those away. Nope. Okay. All right. So you know the thing I like about this list? We're going to leave that list there. The thing that I like about this list is that I actually was able to memorize all of them and could say them, right? Now, when I often would ask people, like, to name them, typically, people could name number 1 and number 7. Right? Does anybody else have a favorite that's not 1 or 7? Interdependent, so 7, yeah. 4. I have to admit, I am a 4th principle person. I love that free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Oh, I just saw a 5 and a 2, so we've got the justice, equity, and compassion in our human relationships, and the right of conscience and the use of the democratic processes, both in our congregation and in society at large. Oh, and we've got a 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, right? Oh, yep, there's a 7 back there, yep. So let's respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, right? So these, I always thought of these as sort of mantras, as aspirations, right? Because sometimes I'm in the grocery store and I'm pretty sure that person in front of me at the checkout line was put there just to annoy me. And I'm going, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Right. And that's just at a checkout line. You know I'm more challenged in some other situations, and I imagine some of you are too. So these are my starting points. These are my aspirations. Do I get there all the time? Heck no, right? But that's how I want to live. That's how I want the world to work. And I also love the 7 principles because they have a lot of room for kind of interpretation and discussion. So now some of you know that recently our General Assembly voted to take the principles and move them out of our bylaws and replace them with a new values statement. And this is a normal thing that happens in development of a liberal religion, right? We have new articulations of our faith. It doesn't mean our 7 principles aren't still there. I'm not planning on getting rid of them. It's just that we have a new articulation. Now, don't change that slide yet. So, who knows what is at the center of our new values lists? Love. All right. So, Barry, would you mind reading the description they have for that? Because each one of these, although we see them in the graphic we'll see in a few minutes, but not yet, we see just one word, but they have more for us to reflect on behind them.
Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love.
And we could actually talk about love for a long time. But here's an interesting thing about finding it at the center of our new values list. It does not show up in our 7 principles, which I think is fascinating because on the universalist side of our tradition, right, God is love was the whole theology. So anyway, so this is part of how we are finding new ways to understand ourselves. All right, so now we get to the tricky part. Can anybody name any one of the 6 values that surround love in our new values? Okay. Plurality. So I gave the slips. Who has plurality? And by the way, if you have a slip of paper, you're not allowed to call that one out.
Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology.
We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect.
Okay, pluralism. And notice that some of the language from these has found its way into these descriptions. I think that's really lovely. Okay, what's another one somebody said? Generosity. Who has our generosity description?
We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope.
We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality.
Okay, who's got another one for me? I thought justice. Okay, I think I know where that one is. I gave it to Joey.
So we work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive.
We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregation, our association, and society at large.
Okay, who's got another one for me? No? Okay. Acceptance. Not quite. Equity. Good job.
We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness.
We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities.
All right, does anybody have one we haven't said? Transformation. Oh.
Transformation. We adapt to the changing world.
We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect.
And by the way, I'm sorry for those of you who didn't know before that we weren't perfect. Okay, I think we have just one left. Interdependence.
We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life. With humility, we acknowledge our place in it.
We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships.
Okay, so now we can have the slide. And I have to admit, I like the picture. I encourage you to have this image in your mind or on your refrigerator, right? Because these are the kinds of values, and what's behind them is what's going to help us get through the times ahead. Each word has that more nuanced description, and they invite us to reflection. Each one is a meditation that we could spend a lot of time on. And you may have your own values and principles that you want to add to your list that's going to help you as you move forward. These principles and values can ground us and guide us as we take action. I've sometimes had congregations go, well, those are the spiritual people and those are the social justice people. If you're only spiritual, why do you matter to the world? If you are only out there in the world, I am so concerned that you are not grounded. We need both. So, here's the thing. There are those whose faith and hope lies in different areas than ours. And some of them may be at your upcoming holiday table. My hope for you when that occurs is that you will be true to yourself and, at the same time, let go of your need to convert Uncle Joe. I commend to you the following sentence for use when things get dicey. Please pass the cranberry sauce. Thank you. And I don't even care if you actually eat the cranberry sauce. We can try to change hearts and minds, and sometimes it will work. In some cases, we will have to disagree, and public debate will decide what prevails. In other cases, we might be able to draw a bigger circle. Some of you will be familiar with this section of a poem from Edwin Markham titled Outwitted. He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. In my vision of the future, we are a less divided nation and world. I believe that if I am well grounded in my principles and values, I can keep my heart and mind open and look for opportunities to draw others in. As we move forward, let us do the next right thing, not because it guarantees us results, but because it is the right thing. And that, I believe, is the world we want to live in. May it be so.
We'll have our closing music now. We'll Build a Land. It's number 121. I invite you to stand as you're willing and able. Oh, Gary's going to lead us.
Right, so Alicia, I think we know this, so Alicia will just give us a short introduction. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice is rolled down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice and roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, rising up devastations from all, restoring ruins of generation. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Humble the land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where the life of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build a land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
We're going to go ahead and extinguish this chalice. We extinguish this flame, the light of truth, the warmth of community, for the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So my closing words today are from Vice President Kamala Harris. There is an adage, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but the benefit for us all, I hope, is not the case. But America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of 1 billion brilliant stars. May the light of optimism, faith, truth, and service guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. Amen. And I think, are we done? There's any more music? One more song, or are we good? We're done. Are you going to have anything, Alicia? We have a postlude. Thank you for that, and then join us for coffee after.